Join us this wonderful Saturday morning. My name is KIAI and you are watching Real Talk. Now today we are talking about a very interesting topic. We are talking about test tube babies, also known as IVF. So it is IVF is a colloquial term that's used, to describe test tube babies. And about 40 years ago, the first test tube baby was born. And in Kenya, about in 2006, actually, we had the first two successful test tube babies, and today they are 12 years old, living successful lives and living healthy lives. Now, the issue of infertility, of course, is an issue that is on the high rise in the country and even in the world at large. With men and women facing this issue as a very serious issue, and mostly because of the societal burden that comes with it, whereby if you have no babies, it's looked at in a very kind of awkward way. Now IVF is a process that was started way back in Britain in 1978, and this has helped so many families, so many men, so many women be able to have children. Now, before we get into the conversation, I want you guys to have a look at this particular video.
The menstrual cycle of fertile women usually lasts about a month. During this time, and under the influence of the body's own natural hormones, a tiny sac within the ovary containing an egg grows to about the size of a grape. At a point midway in the cycle, this egg is released from the ovary and ovulation occurs. Ovulation is also regulated by hormones. The egg, which from this moment on is ready for fertilization, then passes into the uterine tubes to await the arrival of fertile sperm. Ovulation is a naturally occurring event, and the desire to have children is a similarly natural instinct. But that instinct cannot always be fulfilled. The causes of unwanted childlessness are numerous, but so are the means of treating them. The technique of in vitro fertilization, or IVF, removes several eggs from the ovary for fertilization in the laboratory. After a few days, one or two of these fertilized eggs, which are now known as embryos, are returned to the uterus in the hope that they implant and become a pregnancy. Women having IVF are given special reproductive hormones to encourage several eggs to develop in the ovaries. Final maturation of the egg itself is induced by the administration of a further hormone. 36 hours later, fluid containing the eggs is drawn from the ovary with a needle. This is usually performed under light sedation in a short outpatient procedure, with the doctor using ultrasound to check proceedings. The eggs collected from the ovary are then mixed with a sample of the male partner's sperm, which has already been washed and concentrated. The eggs and sperm are left in an incubator set at 37 degrees for 24 hours, so that fertilization can take place. During this time, only one of the many sperm cells will penetrate the outer layer of the egg and achieve fertilization. Following fertilization, the cells divide and multiply and form an embryo. After 2 or 3 days, a healthy embryo will comprise around 8 cells. It is then transferred to the uterus by means of a thin, flexible tube, where it is left to implant and form a pregnancy. All these methods of assisted reproduction offer couples a good chance of bringing a healthy baby into the world. A consultation and thorough examination are necessary for each individual patient for finding the most appropriate treatment with the highest chance of success. Because female fertility decreases quite quickly after the age of 35, infertile couples should not delay seeking appropriate medical advice.
Right, so today there are about over 7 million test tube babies. In Kenya there are over 2,000 stories of successful IVF. Now in studio with me is Esther. Esther is the founder of of a community-based organization called Blessed Womb, that of course helps women and even men to deal with this issue of infertility, and even just informing them about IVF, because a lot of people probably do not know and do not understand, and she's here to share with us her story as well as, you know, her knowledge about it. Thank you so much, Esther, for coming through today.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so do make sure you send in your questions, your comments to 22162, starting with the word circuit. Our social media handle at is Circuit TV Show. The hashtag is Real Talk with Christine. First and foremost, we watched a video, you know, trying to describe what IVF really is, but you know, in a probably more simpler way, how would you define IVF or test tube babies, and is there a difference?
I would really comment about infertility. I want the society and everybody to know that that is a disease and it requires treatment. And if the gynecologist requests you to go for IVF, you're going for test tube babies. And actually IVF is just fertilization that is taking place in a lab. More not in the fallopian tube that normally it does. There is no much difference with the normal pregnancy. It's only that it is being done outside the womb.
All right, so it's done outside the womb, but as you share with us your story, of course, I think let's begin from understanding when you know you went to hospital and you realized that you actually have to go through IVF.
I got married and I stayed for more than 1 year without conceiving, having unprotected sex and regularly. Then I realized there is a problem. I requested my employer to post me in a nearer place to my husband, so that I see whether there is anything that will be forthcoming. Then from there I started going to the hospital. I went to Kenyatta. They told me, they did a scan after being given some treatment to ensure that my body is somehow warm. They tried to see, they told me that I have fibroids. So I went, the fibroids were removed in Kenyatta, and then later on they told me maybe my tubes are blocked. Let us do the test that will ensure, they'll be sure that my tubes are not blocked. So painful. I went through the test, and they told me, can we do tuboplastic, that is unblocking the tubes. But the doctor realized that my tubes are too tiny, abnormally tiny, that there is nothing that can penetrate. So the doctor recommended that I go for IVF. That was the only best option that I had. I felt pain. I cried, definitely. I felt like I'm lost. But I took heart because my mother was just on my back. She told me, let's move to the next step. Yes. All
right. So what is the process of IVF like? From the word go, from the moment the doctor tells you that, okay, now the only solution is, you know, having test tube babies or a test tube baby, then how do you start the process?
You're supposed, number one, to go and book. Definitely you pay some consultation fee. Then the doctor tells you to come during your second day of your period, if you're having your periods. Because still we have mothers who do not have the periods because of maybe age and some other medical problems. So you go during the second day of your period, a scan is done. When you're still messy, a scan is done so that the doctor can be able to see the uterus and the walls and the way you are. And then a blood test is also done to ensure that your status are correct, your hormones level and everything else when you are having your periods. Yes. And then he will be able to give you some injections after that and some drugs to ensure that you hatch, you have a number of eggs. If you're 35 years and above, the doctor will recommend otherwise.
All right. So is it a painful process?
No, it is not painful from the beginning, but at the end it will be.
It will be. And why is that?
The reason why it is going to be painful, because, you know, mostly those mothers have not given birth, so their body parts has not enlarged. So it is still enclosed like for a young girl. So the doctor has to open so that the doctor can be able to maybe retrieve the eggs or else maybe do some other scans and the likes. Like personally, I felt pain. I can
all right. So you get the injections, you get all these appointments. But just maybe describe to us in between there, you know, what are the other things that are going on?
Immediately you are given the drugs, you go home, they wait for 14 days so that they can be able to come and harvest the eggs. That is a very moving situation for mothers. Like, you will go there, then you're being told your eggs are not good. So we need now, you pay some extra money so that the doctor can get a young girl to give you the eggs. Usually so many women actually get stressed, they cry in that place, and they look for counseling maybe. And others decide to keep quiet, they're able to hold it, and they look for the extra girl, but they don't inform their husbands at times, because it is usually very painful. And some may not have done anything evil to make them infertile. So they really feel pain, the agony, the rejection that they get from the society makes them to be depressed and stressed.
So these drugs that you're given, what is the purpose of these drugs?
The purpose of the drugs is to enable the eggs and the uterus to be ready for implantation. If you're not going to use your eggs, you're supposed to be injected. You know, definitely the breast and the body needs to grow. Ready for this child.
In like a normal conceiving and pregnancy, there are certain body changes that are supposed to happen. So is that the purpose of the drugs?
Yes, exactly. Your breast needs to be set and ready. Your uterus needs to be set because it is receiving something. This is it's like a foreign body, because maybe it is not even your embryo. So you need to be set. The hormones and everything needs to be arranged. You're using somebody's egg. Definitely there is genetic effect on it. So your body needs to be set well. In order for it to be able to receive this embryo.
All right. So even then, you have to continue. So once you get the injections as well, at what point now do you, after the eggs have been fertilized, right? So then now you're ready to go home and just wait.
Yes, you will go home, and definitely I forgot to say that you have to come with your husband, because the status of your husband has also to be checked and aligned with this other donor if you're using a donor. If it is your wife, then you need to be tested together. Then there is a day you will come with your husband so that your husband can donate sperms. Is the harvesting of the eggs is being done the same day. And you can imagine that you'll have to have sex. And everybody knows what you're doing in that room that you'll be told to go. So the sperm will be harvested. So I hope you can be able to see the pain the woman is going through and the husband. Really, the society needs to accept us the way we are. Then from there, you get into that room, you give to the doctor. After 3 days or 5 days, depending on the doctor, the embryos will have grown. Then you'll be called to go to the hospital for the implantation process. When you go to the theater, because actually you go to the theater, then there is opening of your cervix and all that. They use the syringe to put the embryos, but you'll be shown the embryos and the way they are. Like in my case, I had 9 of them. I was able to see the 9 embryos that I had. Then from there you're told you'll be given 3. You get in there in the theater, the doctor inserts the 3 of them. You're given an injection. You're told to go to the restroom. You sleep for like 30 minutes and then you're ready to go home.
Fine. So you go home. I mean, this is quite interesting, because as much as I had read some of it, you know, when you hear it from someone who's experienced it, it's a bit more, you know, clearer. Once you go home, after that, what next?
You are supposed to have total bed rest, no movement. Actually, I was sleeping from this side and this side only. You're not supposed to sleep facing upward or down. And you're not supposed to have so many movements. You're supposed to be cool in that bed. And you don't move out, in and out, unless it is maybe you're going to the toilet. Actually, you have to sit in that bed. To sleep, actually, not seated, sleeping flat. And then there are those kind of foods that you're not supposed to take, like tea leaves, like oranges, pawpaw, and some other things. You take a lot of the time you're taking milk, and not the normal food that any other pregnant woman is taking. And remember, you're having an injection every day for 3 months.
Yes.
And so many drugs that you're taking, about 9 tablets
during the pregnancy.
Like in the morning you can take 3, lunchtime 3, in the evening you take about 6. So we are ranging from 10 tablets to 15 tablets in a day, plus an injection that is usually very painful.
All right, so why is it that you have to sleep in a particular way?
Because you're not supposed to shake your uterus. In fact, I even forgot to tell you, you should not have sex.
Oh, is
for
it?
a long period of time.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have it because sex will make your uterus shake. And also these other styles of sleeping, the comfort zones that we usually have when we are sleeping, we are just out of that.
So how was it for you, that entire journey up to the moment, right before you got your child?
Before I got my child, I was not interacting with other women. I never knew whether I'm a girl or I'm a mother.
Yeah.
The age was dictating that I'm a mother because I'm married, but I'm a mother to who? I never used to socialize with anybody. I even just withdrew myself even from church because everybody would ask you, how old is your child? Your classmates and all those other people that you are with, you withdraw from them. You live a life of stress and depression alone.
Yeah.
And then also maybe parents refuse to assist you because you're telling them about IVF. They have never heard about it.
Yes.
Like my dad told me, hey, that is waste of money. What are you telling? You just went to school another day and then you're bringing something new to me. I don't think I will not waste any coin. So I took a loan from the bank and I went to Dr. Nore. That was year 2012. Year 2013, I delivered my twins. I have a boy and a girl.
Yes.
And the girl is called Precious Joy and the boy is called God's Will. Because it was the God's will that I was able to conceive them and get them.
All right. I mean, wow, that's amazing. And, it's also a fact, actually, that IVF, in most cases, you deliver twins. Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, would you know why is that?
The main reason why, because we are working with probability. The doctor usually implants 3 embryos in your womb, 3 of them. So